First-class service and first-class views are what's in store for you at our next stop. Time to head to the Smoky Mountains of North Carolina and climb on board the Great Smoky Mountains Railroad for a unique experience that winds through some of the most beautiful, challenging, and awe-inspiring landscapes on the East Coast. The railroad is located in the southwest corner of North Carolina, in the town of Bryson City, nestled in the heart of the Southern Appalachians. Built primarily with the blood and sweat of countless convicts, this line travels through some of the most imposing terrain you can imagine. It winds through tunnels, crosses high trestle bridges, and keeps company with the swift-flowing Nantahala River as it climbs through the breathtaking Nantahala Gorge. Your journey on the Great Smoky Mountains Railroad begins at the old depot in Bryson City.
Ride that Great Smoky Mountain Railroad.
A bluegrass band sets the tone with a little mood music. And passengers waiting to board can get inspired for what they're about to experience with a visit to the Smoky Mountain Train Museum. It's a 45-foot-long extravaganza of flashing lights and puffing steam engines. Everywhere you look, there's something to amaze and delight.
Yeah, I expected just to ride the train and eat lunch and ride it back and go home. You know, I never expected there to be a museum and, you know, all that. It's icing on the cake.
The museum houses one of the largest collections of Lionel trains on the East Coast. But it's the layout that inspires the oohs and the ahs. Back outside, the excitement builds as the conductor signals it's time to go.
All aboard! How are you today?
I'm well, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Silver Meteor's on the right.
As the Nantahala Gorge train pulls out of Bryson City to begin its 4.5-hour journey, the passengers settle in for a ride packed with history and wild natural beauty.
Y'all are gonna have a fun train, right?
Yes!
In first class, passengers enjoy personal service, lunch, and lavish surroundings that harken back to the golden age of railroads.
The pace is just right. Staff has just been fabulous, and the other guests on the train have also just made it a great environment for us to laugh, have fun, and relax.
In the open-air car, the experience is completely different, but just as mesmerizing.
You feel like you're in the midst of nature. You're not closed in by glass. It's just open and free. The breeze is here. You feel the cool air, and you hear the water rustling and tumbling over the rocks in the river, and it's just very relaxing.
Perhaps the most breathtaking sight on the journey is the stately crossing of the high trestle over Fontana Lake. The 1,000-foot span rises more than 179 feet above the water, offering unparalleled vistas. Across the lake, the smoky blue-gray line of the Great Smokies National Park rises in the distance. The Fontana Lake Trestle is a favorite with Hollywood movie producers. And it's not the only place on the railroad you might recognize from the big screen. If you take the railroad's Tuckasegee Excursion, you'll go right past the site of the largest staged train wreck in movie history. You may recognize it from the blockbuster film The Fugitive, starring Harrison Ford. You'll also pass through the site of one of the most tragic chapters in the history of this line, the Cowie Tunnel. Convicts labored with hand tools for 18 months digging the tunnel. One day, a barge ferrying prisoners across the river flipped over. 19 men were chained together to prevent escape, and as a result, all but one of them drowned. The history isn't so tragic on the section of line taken by the Nantahala Gorge train, but laying these tracks was just as difficult. Past Fontana Lake, the train continues its journey up the gorge. The train parallels the river at times, keeping pace with the rafts, bobbing along in the swift-flowing river. After the trip through the gorge, the train pauses on its journey at the Nantahala Outdoor Center. The layover gives passengers the chance to stretch their legs and maybe enjoy a picnic by the river. It's also a great place to watch kayakers challenge themselves at the NOC's paddling school and on the whitewater racing course. Beyond beautiful scenery and the novelty of a train ride, this trip is somehow more than the sum of its parts. It's almost as though the railroad has cast a spell over her passengers and is in the process of giving them an unexpected gift.
I stepped on and I felt like I went back in time. It's just been a truly wonderful time.
It's definitely a time machine that's very fun to ride.
A time machine that takes passengers not only on a breathtaking journey, but back to a different place and a different time in our nation's history.
Go back into the land and away from the highways and the commercialism, and just see the route that the train was taking, and to realize how difficult this was to build and how old it is, and that it's still preserved for us. It's really a special part of America.
Ralph Waldo Emerson once said that railroad iron is a magician's rod in its power to evoke the sleeping energies of land and water. Maybe there's something to that, because somehow the Great Smoky Mountain Railroad seems to weave a magic spell around all who ride it.